There's 8 months to go until Americans head to the polls and vote for the person they believe is best to lead the nation. At this stage, it's looking like it'll be a race between former President Donald Trump and President Joe Biden. The biggest challenge for the president in getting re-elected has been revealed, and it will come as no surprise as it has to do with his age and his mental fitness. The latest New York Times Siena College poll found the majority of voters who supported Joe Biden in 2020 believe the 81-year-old is now too old to lead the country effectively. Now, concerns over Joe Biden's age and mental health is growing by the day, and this poll highlights a significant shift in how voters who backed Joe Biden have now come to see him.
What we're hearing from voters as well, Laura, is concern about age of their politicians. This comes up time and time again. It might not look like it considering who's being put up, but it is. We have a New York Times Siena poll that's come out just this week about the age of candidates, saying voters' views on whether candidates are too old to be effective as president. 47% strongly agree, 26% somewhat agree. And then when it comes to Donald Trump, it's similar, 21 to 21%.
The poll was conducted more than 2 weeks after a special counsel described Joe Biden as a well-meaning, elderly man with a poor memory. Sky News contributor Joseph Siracusa says the poll shows the president is gone.
Joe Biden is gone. This poll, and I take the New York Times Siena poll very seriously, has Donald Trump winning by 5 points if the election were held today. And 47% of Americans think that they disapprove of what he's done. 57% of Americans think that Donald Trump could do a lot better than Biden in terms of the economy, inflation, and immigration. And that leads to our second poll this week, Pete. You know, Donald Trump is king this week, and the Gallup poll proves it. It shows that the number one issue in American life today is immigration. It's gone from 20 to 28%. And as you can see from the Biden and the Trump dueling session down at the border, that Donald won that one hands down. I mean, it just looks like he can't handle it. Now, only 3% of Americans worry much about foreign policy. So, you know, we could discount the significance of dropping TV dinners on a beach in Gaza. I mean, I am just sickened by these pellets coming down with food and no water and medicine. I mean, I don't know what Biden's doing. He's pretty desperate here. But look, there's no doubt about it that Donald Trump has got a lock on the presidency. He's got a lock on the nomination, and the American people are moving in his directions. Well, now, the one thing we haven't mentioned about those great stock market things, you know, the S&P 500, the Dow, is they're anticipating the return of Donald Trump. They've already factored in the Trump victory. So you know that, hey, this is very important because they're waiting for this guy to come back and let the good times roll.
Sky News host Paul Murray says Biden is obviously too old, but the next range of Democrats that are coming through are too woke.
So Biden, right? I mean, they can do is they can make him look like he can balance on a bike. They can make him look like he's got all these great lines off his head on network television. They can make it look like he's, the best leader behind closed doors. But your eyes don't lie. The bloke is too old. The bloke misses a step. The bloke literally tripping over all over the shop. No.
Michelle, what's your read on this? Because he rarely makes TV appearances, and then when he does, he just laughs off serious concerns. Yeah. A lot of people in America are really concerned about his age.
Also, when he does make TV appearances, he's like that old man shouting at Sky. He gets easily agitated, which I think is not a good sign for someone who's running for the top job. Also, we have to speak about Donald Trump as well. They're both too old to be running. Let's be clear about that. It's a sad indictment on the state of US politics that we're here with two elderly gentlemen with no succession planning. And I think both the Republicans and the Democrats need to take a long look at what they're doing.
Well, Murray, what's your take on that? Do you agree?
My sense of it is that, again, the Republicans feel that there's unfinished business with Trump, right? Unfinished business from 2020, and almost a sense that sort of part of the first term was so novel, right? So they are just interlinked with Trump, to use a Cody Rhodesism from the WWE, to finish the story, right? They've been in this, they've lost all their friends, they've argued with their family members.
Totally.
So if you're in on Trump, you're all in and you're going to go all the way to the end. Biden is obviously too old, but The bizarre thing is that Biden has convinced himself that he's the only the Democrat who can beat Trump, because all the rest of them are too young, too woke. That's the other thing too. They're so super wokey, the next range that's coming through. But the reason, by the way, that Biden in particular is trying to pretend, oh, Trump's worse than me, Trump's worse than me, is there was a poll put out by the New York Times a few months ago that suggested 6% of people, when they view them both as equally declining, move back towards Biden. So it's not just about saying, how good am I? It's about pulling Trump down to his level and winning a comparison.
But also a poll that happened recently, like in the States, they said that 59% of voters say they're both too old for the job. Yeah. So I think at the end of the day, they need to look at someone who is going to take the spot. Nikki Haley, I think she's got some good runs on the board. I think she'd be a great kind of alternative. But, you know, the Democrats don't have anyone. And as you said, they're getting too woke. They're going too far to the left. They're kind of ostracising the right and the middle even.
But then there's the question of how long can Nikki Haley actually stay in the race for? Because she's got beaten by
She's got the money though, and she has said she will stay, and I kind of like that. I like you need a bit of competitive spirit in the lead up to the run up to this kind of election.
But is it a lost cause?
Yes, she's not going to be the nominee unless Trump is disqualified from being the nominee. The reason she's staying in and the length of time as to why she's staying in is all, will the Supreme Court uphold the decision of several Democratic states to bounce his name off the ballot? Because presumably, if he can be done in one state, it's not an election where there's a central body that's running everything. It's 50 separate elections. And if states are given the right to boot him off, well then he goes and she says, well, I'm the last one standing, so I get it. That said, let's imagine she did become the nominee. The 60% of people that are relentlessly voting against her will not go out and campaign for her, will not go out and vote for her. So yes, in head-to-head matches, Haley ends up beating Biden. But the bigger problem for both these parties is young voters, voters to the left, Arab voters won't get behind Biden because of his position on Israel, and MAGA won't get behind Haley. So what, 3 people will vote?